Jets lost in an embarrassing fashion again, 28-27 to the Colts. And Woody decided to pull the plug on Joe Douglas. We're going to talk about it today.
Hey, New York Jet fans from all around the world. Welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast. The show that delivers you all your Jets content. Here are your hosts, John, Adam, and Monty. All the best to the New York Jet fans. J-E-T-S, Jets, 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 go Jets.
Welcome to the show. And interesting week, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting week. Monty, you're wearing the jersey today. How come?
Yeah, man. I'm celebrating the firing of Joe Douglas and hopefully the alleviation of the big anchor that's been around our neck for years now in terms of us sucking. But we'll see.
All right. Adnan, how you feeling today? You're still not wearing Jet stuff, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it needed to happen, right? We'll get into it a little bit more, but the loss didn't do anything to me because I expected them to lose anyway. So it is what it is.
I hear you. I was at the game, and vibes were really bad to start that game. Because it was just a disaster, right? The beginning couldn't have started worse, right? It just looked totally incompetent across the board. And I told all my season ticket holders in the section that I decided to hang it up. And they were like, "We don't blame you. We may still do it if you want one of our seats. Talk to us, But they understood, because especially since I paid for 4, right?
Yeah, John, you want to bring that music down? I can't hear myself think.
Yeah, I could just do that. It's fine. I wanted it in there to kind of segue a little bit better, but
I like it. I like it a little bit, but yeah.
I'll make a version where it's even lower.
Or where it just tapers out. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I can taper out. But I guess we can go through the recap video that we had before for this thing.
Yep.
All right, and then we'll go into the big, massive loss that we had.
Welcome back to Laugh Through the Turbulence, where the agony of being a Jets fan continues its relentless march. This week, the Jets outdid themselves in heartbreak. They went 25 minutes without a first down, teased us with a glimpse of competence, and then promptly fell apart to lose 28-27 to the Colts. In true Jets fashion, they blew an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter, and the defense made Anthony Richardson look like a Hall of Famer, slicing through them like a knife through mustard. It's been a brutal season, folks. It's wild to think about it, but yes, Aaron Rodgers, future Hall of Famer, has somehow managed a worse winning percentage as a Jets QB than both Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson. Let it sink in. Darnold, who saw ghosts, and Wilson, who saw nothing downfield, statistically outshined Rodgers' Jets tenure. Of course, it's a small sample size, but when it comes to the Jets, even greatness can't escape the curse. If you're still tuning in, you're not just a fan. You're a saint of suffering, loyal to a fault. But hey, there's good news. We have a bye week coming up. We can't lose this week, though if anyone could find a way, it would be the Jets.
Yeah, man.
Getting good at those videos, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to toot my own horn. Zach did see MILFs and wins, though.
Yeah, we know. We know that you're the master of self-horn tooting.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Usually very undesirable characteristic.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, the defense, holy shit, did it just fall apart?
Yep.
And honestly, it people are going to blame Sauce. I do blame him a bit, but the safety coverage has been really bad. And you're starting to really see it, especially because Tony Adams didn't play, right? Mills is a little bit of a liability in his responsibilities and coverage. And, Sauce really kind of yelled at him on that completion, the big completion that basically when you knew that it was going to be a Colts victory, right? A couple times like that. It's just, and it just sucks. And you got Chuck Clark back, but, didn't matter.
Yeah, man, it's just another, flat, slow start and another embarrassing ass loss. Rodgers had 2 yards in the first quarter. This is actually the first time, by the way, in franchise history where the Jets have lost 2 games by 1 point in the same season. That's never happened. And then fucking Rodgers, man, first time, believe it or not.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, it's funny because we mentioned defense, but offense was also not great, man. I mean, we started slow. Rodgers only had 162 yards passing against the sixth worst defense in the league. So just so you guys know, the only other QBs to do that poorly, aka under 200 yards against this defense, are Will Levis, and the backups for Green Bay and Miami, and that's it. That's the company that Aaron Rodgers is in right now. He had 2 passes over 10 yards.
I can show the image if you want me to.
Yeah. Throw that on there.
I'll share it. So basically, this is a snapshot. I think it was courtesy of doesn't really fucking matter. Yeah. But basically, this is just kind of what it is, right? Basically, Rodgers just really didn't attempt 0 attempts beyond 20 yards, right? And pretty much all but I got 4 passes I see here over 10 yards.
Yeah. No, it's 2. That second hash
attempts. I meant attempts.
Yeah.
Attempts.
Oh, attempts. Yeah. Only 4 attempts, only 2 completed over 10 yards. And it was just embarrassing. Yeah. And that's after last week of not completing a single pass over 7 yards just a week ago versus the Cardinals, who are not really an outstanding defensive unit by any means.
No, they're not. But they are playing better, but still, no.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Honestly, it's funny. If you look at his interceptions, right, they've really gone down pretty much lately, right? I think the last one was the Bills game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Mike Williams throw under the bus game, right? Then before that was the 3 picks, right? And he hasn't thrown a pick since, right? This dude might be a little fucking gun shy at this fucking point,
A little. I think he's very.
Yeah, he is. He's really starting to look his age now, and this is just. I mean, it just sucks. We really needed to try this out with him last year, right?
Yeah,
we really did. That was a better team, although this O-line is really fucking good. As it's a really good O-line right now. And credit
talent-wise, yeah, absolutely.
It's a good O-line. It's actually functioning. He's just not functioning the offense well. I mean, credit. By the way, Olu Fashanu, good game. John Simpson, great game. AVT was pretty stellar too. Moses was fine. Titman had one bad run block situation, but I believe no pressures for him. The O-line was great, and it just sucks because it took so long to get that O-line together, right?
Yep.
And you think you have the quarterback, and you just don't, and you are heading to a rebuild, and it's just so sad.
Yeah, and what's fucking another thing that's pissing me off is that you got these idiot Jets fans who are like, "Oh, the O-line sucks. Aaron Rodgers has no time to throw."
Oh, he had time.
He had plenty of time. I looked it up. Rodgers is averaging the same time in the pocket, same amount of time in the pocket as the following guys: Pat Mahomes. Let's see. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. And Jordan Love and Joe Burrow. He has the same.
Not worse as you said it, but Bills and Chiefs are still highly up there.
Yeah, but all those guys are able. The point of those guys is that they're all still performing well and able to complete passes to a lesser receiving core in some cases. And it's just ridiculous that this is what we're relegated to with this level of an O-line and what's supposed to be a future Hall of Fame quarterback.
Well, he's going to be a Hall of Famer no matter what. I mean, you don't win 4 MVPs and not get a Hall of Fame unless you're.
I know. I'm just saying he's supposed to be, meaning you should be able to, like Brady. Brady is still good pretty much to the end. Usually quarterbacks, they slow down, stuff like that. But it's usually not this,
not this bad.
This is dramatic.
Well, I think there are a couple things, right? One, I don't want to let him off the hook because he's been bad, but I think he's also hobbled a little bit from some hits he took earlier in the season. Like, he's just not right. He's still not recovered from the Achilles. So I think that's, making him skittish in the pocket. But on the flip side, man, with where this season is right now, he should just be saying, F it and throwing the ball down the field 70% of the time.
Yeah,
right?
He has to know he's on his way out.
The running game, Brees looked amazing.
Well,
Brees is good at football.
But again, still, if you're throwing the ball inside of 10 yards 95% of the time,
you're not letting it loose. You're Chad Pennington.
Right?
You're Chad
So
Pennington.
what you have to, I think he should just open it up and be like, whatever, man, but that's kind of one of the other things with Rodgers is that, this not even the reluctance to throw downfield. It's also he's not moving past his first read. He just wants to get the ball out of his hands because he doesn't want to get hit. If you look at how many times he'll receive the snap and the ball is out in a second and a half. What? He doesn't want to get hit. He's not looking from 1 to 2 to 3. He's just going to the first read and trying to force it in there, right? And I think that's just all of a function of a quarterback who doesn't feel comfortable, is probably banged up, and is on his last legs, right? It's a little bit of everything. So I think Rodgers was a big problem on Sunday. And, I just think that, a guy like Hassan Reddick, he got banged up. He doesn't care at this point.
There's a report that came out that said he quote, is just trying to get as many sacks as he can and move on.
Of course. We knew that the second he signed, right?
I know.
That's all he's doing. He's sack hunting, and he's not even doing that well.
Nope.
So,
One sack.
So, this
sack and a half, something like that.
Yeah, this isn't looking good. But I think we've said everything that we need to say.
It isn't looking good
about this, because I think a lot of this bleeds into Douglas. So maybe we should just get into Douglas and then go from there.
Well, really quick, I did want to point out some bright spots. 27 points was a season high point total, and I think it's probably the most points that we've scored in a while.
Monty, on that note, they were the last team in the NFL to score over 25 points. So just put that in perspective.
There is that. Penalties we kept low for the second week in a row. We only had 2 for 14 this week, finally. And that's pretty much probably the only place we improved week over week. And we kicked our longest whole home field goal in franchise history. So we have a kicker again. But
for now.
But that's about it. Till he gets the yips like Swerline.
Very good. All right, so let's get into the big news. Is GM Joe Douglas, who it sucks because I understood what the guy was trying to fucking do, right? He couldn't figure out quarterback. That's the thing that killed him, right? He just couldn't fucking figure out quarterback whatsoever.
He whiffed too early on Becton and on Zach Wilson, and then he was just playing catch up for the rest of his tenure on the Jets, and I think that's what killed him.
But I'll also say he missed on that entire Becton draft. Look at the names in that draft.
Yeah, it's a good draft class. It's the COVID draft, though. That's such a weird draft. You don't have a combine. You don't have anything. But it doesn't matter.
Other teams were successful, so I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that, it was COVID, so the Jets didn't have a chance. It was weird.
Also, Adam Gates' vision of a team.
Good draft classes.
Mm-hmm. Also, Adam Gates' vision of a team.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because you didn't do it with a brand new coach then. Usually that's kind of the way it goes. You get new coach, new GM, right? All at the same time, right? So, whatever you draft, you can mold in the vision of what that coach wants the team to look like, right? So, who knows who had influence where, right? That's what I'm saying. And I don't think, straight up Becton, if he doesn't get hurt, I think they don't even, he's fine. I think he's fine continuing out, Right now in Philadelphia, he's looking pretty good as a guard right now because obviously the injuries have prevented him from being a tackle. But the rest of the draft class, absolutely total disaster. 2021, not a great class either. And honestly, it's because of Zach, right? It's only because of Zach that's a bad class, right? Moore probably is going to be good if you have a quarterback, right? ABT is good. We know that Michael Carter was a late round gem. Sherwood, gem now looks like, right? The other Michael Carter was just too small and was supposed to be a situational guy, right? It's not a terrible class. 2022 we know is great, right? We know that class is great, right?
Yeah.
But
then there's a lot of bad.
And Will McDonald looks good, although he's not getting the sacks right now, but he is getting pressure consistently. So it's like.
But then this is the story of Joe Douglas, because for all the good that he's done, he has so much bad that pretty much that outweighs it. There's Lake. I said so much bad.
No, John said so.
Yeah. There's Lakin. There's Corey Davis. There's Kinlaw. There's the whole Reddick situation. There's getting rid of Carl Lawson. There's Denzel Mims. There's getting rid of JFM for fucking peanuts. Dismantling this line before the season.
He did get JFM and Huff though.
Not aggressive.
He got DJ Reed.
Not aggressively pursuing QB enough.
Been good. And George Fant he got. That was good. Connor McGovern was serviceable at center. There's a lot of things he did that were good. It just couldn't all get together.
Not getting a backup quarterback last year. We knew you can't go into the season with Zach Wilson as your number one starter and your only QB. And he gets us fucking Tim Boyle and this fucking carousel of losers that ended up, not being able to be any better than Zach Wilson, who sucked. And we know he sucks because he's not a starter anywhere in the league right now. Or he couldn't even beat out Bo Nix, who isn't great.
I mean, he could have beat out Jarrett Stidham to be the backup. Right? Yeah. He could have beat out Jarrett Stidham to be the backup. So I think when you look at Douglas, right, I think there were some good things, but overall, I don't know, man. I look at kind of the things that he tried to do. And again, I get it, but I think that's what a lot of GMs try to do, right? Like he missed too much at the most important spots. And also Saleh was his hire.
Yes,
so he missed on Saleh. He missed on a quarterback. He missed on a left tackle. You don't get to come back from that.
Yeah, so I graded him out. I said, what is a good GM? To me, it's three things. It's coaching acquisition, it's talent acquisition / roster construction, and then it's contract negotiations. For coaching acquisition, I gave him an F. For talent acquisition, roster construction, I gave him a C+. And then for contract negotiations, I gave him a B. But I weighted those things. So coaching acquisition is 40%, talent was 40%, and contract negotiations was 20%, because those two things are a lot more important than contracts, in my opinion. Yep. The weighted average, when it all said and done, is a D+. And I think that's a fair grade for how Joe Douglas has led this team and where we are and what the Jets are under his tenure. 30-64, get him the fuck out.
He's not the worst GM of all time, though, for the Jets. He's not, though. It's Izzik.
I mean, right. I mean, listen.
Definitely Izzik.
Well, when your bar is Izzik and McCagnon, I mean,
I know.
To clear that
At least McCagnon got us a winning season.
Yeah, exactly. He had no playoff appearances and not a single winning record while his tenure.
The best season was his first season, right? Where they went 7-9.
7-9, yeah.
So I just think that, and now, we know all the bad, we know the good. What I will say is that unequivocally the positive thing is the next regime has much more talent than Joe Douglas did when he came in, right? Yep, I think that if they don't mess up the GM coaching search, and that's another thing, get Douglas out now so you can start the search. You're on your bye week. Yeah. Get ahead of that and start doing it. And, one of the things that a lot of people talk about, right? Like, is the Jets a desirable job, right? So there's a part of me that says no, especially if Aaron Rodgers stays, right? However, there are only 32 head coaching jobs and 32 GM jobs in the NFL on the planet, right? So I don't think there are going to be Ben Johnson, maybe, but he said no to teams last year, right? So I don't think there are going to be too many. Yeah. So I don't think there are going to be too many coaches or GMs are going to be like, no, I want no part of that.
Well, right? The interesting name is Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is the interesting name. Former Jet, DC with the Lions.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good, man. That defense is really good, and they're missing their best defender.
I think they needed. I want Vrabel.
Coach? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We're not there yet in the season. We don't even know who's going to be interviewing at this point, so it's a little early to discuss that. But at least there's going to be a plethora of talent in terms of coaching options.
There's also going to be a plethora of available jobs. I mean, the Giants are probably going to be looking, the Titans, the
Dallas.
Browns, Jacksonville,
the Bengals might.
The Bengals, Chicago, New Orleans, and us.
Cleveland.
So there could be as many as 10 coaching changes in the offseason.
And I think if you look at some of those teams you named, Monty, like, are any of those jobs significantly better than the Jets outside of Chicago and Cincinnati? I mean, Cincinnati is only good because of Burrow and Chase, right?
Cincinnati's the best gig.
They have horrific ownership. The Bears, I mean, look, two of my really, really, really good friends are Bears fans. They loathe Bears ownership, right? So it's like, it's not as if, the Chiefs or the Eagles, teams with these really competent owners are coming open. So I think when you look at some of these openings, they're not as undesirable as the Jets, you know what I mean? I just think that there'll be more opportunity for the Jets. And I think, like John said, there is a lot of coaching talent out there. I think there will be a lot of GM talent out there. So it's good to just rip off the Band-Aid, get rid of them, and start looking now.
Yeah, I just hope whatever GM we end up coming with is, they realize that this has got to be something that we need some urgency on. No more of this 5-year, 6-year rebuild bullshit. None of that. We saw the Lions picking second after getting Campbell a year before that, and now they're Super Bowl favorites. We saw the Jags pick first 2 years in a row. Now they, and they won a playoff game. They're not great right this second, but they've at least won a playoff game since then. Look at the Commanders. They hired some consultants to help their GM rebuild. To help they're fixed to help their owner pick their GM, and now they're fixed. The Texans. There's just too many teams where
the Broncos are fixed right now.
Yeah, too many teams where it's like you bring one guy in, two guys in, and then all of a sudden it's a whole new fucking ball game. So there's no reason that can't happen with the talent we have currently on this team. We have a lot of studs on this team. We're still a very talented roster, even if you get rid of all the 1-year deal and veteran guys.
Yeah. It's still very. I would say of the jobs that are going to become available, it's going to be top 5 of the 10. Let's just say that.
Right. I'd say
definitely.
That.
Well, the location's going to make it a little more appealing. Maybe not, but I would think maybe, right? You'd rather live in Cincinnati than New York? No shot. Although that's going to be the top gig though, Cincinnati though, because Joe Burrow is MVP season is being wasted away, which really sucks.
It depends because coaches and GMs might not be guys that want to be in the limelight like that though.
I
don't know. Some people love it. I like the guy that loves it, So who sees. But anyway.
Who loves it is Coach Prime, but I'm just saying.
Maybe I'll apply for the GM job. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I got an accounting background.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a job posting on LinkedIn. I'm sure you can just send your resume in, John. Don't worry about it.
I'm a CFO, bitch. Yeah.
I think
I'm a CFO, successful CFO right now.
I think when you look at the openings, like you were saying, John, I think the Jets job and the other unknown, I know Sabini has said there are rumblings that Woody isn't going to bring Rodgers back, but Rodgers being on this team could be a detriment as well.
He's got to go. Yeah, he's got to fucking go.
I agree
100%.
with you. I agree with you, but I'm just saying, if Woody says, come on back, and he's like, I'm in, I think that completely makes this probably the least desirable job, to be honest.
Yeah, but
nobody wants to deal with it.
No, Woody's got to know at this point. He's been embarrassed enough. He's Mr. Reactionary social media. Apparently, he knows Rodgers is cooked. He's got to know that. And Rodgers has got to go. He doesn't have it anymore. And it's too much of a cap hit for too long if we keep him beyond this year. Even though it's a big hit next year, just rip the fucking Band-Aid off and bite the bullet.
Post June 1 though moves the cap around a little bit so you can stretch it over 2 years.
That's why it has to be done now.
Yeah, No,
Right.
no, that's why it gets done after June 1st.
So you
After June
designated
1st,
a
but-
June 1st cut.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course,
Exactly,
Tom, we
exactly.
know
Yes. Yeah.
You
Got
know?
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to final thoughts because I have to keep it short tonight, boys. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But final thoughts, and then we're gonna do another episode, FYI, next week for the preview, and we might do another one in between there, depending on how we feel if anything else comes up. But I'll
Yep.
Adnan, I'll let it go to you first.
Yeah, well, it's a bye week, so we don't have a preview.
Can't lose.
I think that, right move, letting Douglas go. They need to be aggressive in this GM search, and they can't mess this up. They got to look towards the premier organizations in the NFL, Kansas City, the Rams, the Niners, teams like that, and bring in a competent GM who can then bring in the right coach. So I think this is the first step. I think they're in good shape with the talent. So we'll see how it plays out, but today needed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was inevitable. I wasn't super shocked by it. Rex Hogan was never replaced, because this was always possible. Woody fired Saleh without consulting Joe D, and he got the Reddick deal done. Like Woody has been doing Joe D's job for months now, really. So it was inevitable to happen. Now my main question is, what was like, who's going to help him? Right? Who's going to help him figure out who our next GM is? Because these Johnson brothers clearly can't do it on their own. They need some help. We need some good consultants, some people who have built teams before. I don't even care if they're not NFL, whatever it is, just people who know how to pick winners. I want to get them in there. I'm also dying, to know, as soon as possible, if Rodgers is coming back or not. I really, really hope not. We need to get his ass the hell out of there. And then just as far as, candidates, just real quick, I think Mike Borgonzi from KC. I think the two GM, there's apparently two AGMs from Tampa. And then there's, was it Mike Greenberg, John Spytek, Alec Halby. He's an AGM from the Eagles. I don't want some failed GM from somewhere else. I would much rather have an ascending assistant from an elite team or from a team that has shown that they, are on the up and up, that, so that we bring in someone who knows what a winning culture should look and feel like. I thought that was Joe Douglas coming from the Eagles and Ravens, but guess not. So hopefully we get the right person and, get it done, Woody.
Yeah, and FYI, Douglas is already looking for homes in the Baltimore area, so he's basically going back to Baltimore. It looks like. Look, the Joe Douglas thing is sad just because I believed all that he was trying to do. I understood it. It made sense to me, especially with trying to draft the quarterback and build like that, and also accumulate a lot of draft capital so that you could surround that young quarterback with talent. It was the right idea. Failed on the quarterback the first time, and you couldn't figure, and the O-line was just too much of a problem in the early part of this until now, finally. It just all couldn't come together at once. And the defense the last 2 years was fucking brilliant. This year, it's been a shell of itself, which is just, I can't believe PFT just fucking ranked the Jets a top 10 defense based on certain metrics. That was the first thing I said to them. Like, I disagree with this. It's going to be a long rest of the season, guys. I just don't know what it's going to look like. All I know is I did give up my season tickets after careful consideration. It was very sad because I went through a video montage. You two were in a lot of those clips, guys like Smokey from Jersey, and a bunch of people, different locations too, not just MetLife, but going to at Raiders in Oakland, Lambeau with you, Adnan. It was just really sad, because I had a lot of great memories in there, but like they were almost all before the game.
Right.
That
sums it up.
Yeah, there was very rarely moments where these celebratory moments were after the game. So it just shows to show that, But anyway, once again, fuck Patriots, fuck Dolphins, fuck Bills, even though I'm happy they beat the Chiefs because
Me too, man. Fuck the Chiefs.
Go Jets.
Go Jets.
Laugh Through the Turbulence swag is now live and ready to make you look as good as Aaron Rodgers throwing a deep ball. Click in the bio to find out where to buy it. Get yours today and rep the green and white in style. And remember, wearing this swag doesn't make you look awesome. Actually, it increases our odds of the Jets winning. maybe not, but it can't hurt to say that, right? Made probably from the finest child sweatshops from around the world that we do not endorse but still appreciate. Buy our swag today. We're giving you free content. Now it's time to empty your pockets and buy the stuff you don't need. Don't have a job? Well, you've got a kidney, right? Sell it and buy our swag. See if that's this old lady with a purse? Take her purse and pawn it and use the money to buy our swag. Got some money tucked away for your kid's college fund? Empty the account and buy our swag, because your kid is just going to waste that money on a gender studies major anyway. Buy our fucking swag, dude!